Hey everybody, I'm Graz, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be talking all about the new Reaper set, and I'm going to give you information about 2 giveaways, so stick around. Let's jump into it. So let's start with some of the boring stuff first of all. So Reaper set is a infantry unit which uses knives which have a fast attack speed, which is very, very good. The obvious comparison here is going to be with Hitman because they are essentially same, but just have different types of damage. It is a DPS unit. It has almost all of its abilities are to do with causing damage. It does have some survivability mechanics. We'll look at the abilities in just a moment. One of the best things about this set is it is very easily obtainable. All you have to do is come over to the arena store, and here you can buy either the core itself immediately or you can buy the parts and then craft it. With these things, I always recommend just buying the core. That's the great value. You're not going to have to spend any extra uranium making it. With regards to the set abilities, let's take a look at those now. With infantry, there is always the possibility of using it for a hybrid, either with a chemist or with a ranger or something like this, so it's worth having a look. So for 2 items, each attack of the ranger marks a target for 10 seconds. Marked enemies take 3% more damage for each mark they have. Each unit can have up to 5 marks. Yeah, I don't think this is particularly impressive, if I'm honest, and more so that you only can have 5 marks during the 10 seconds. With the faster attack speed you get from knives, I would be expecting to have a lot more marks possible. So that's a little disappointing, but it is only for 2 items. 4 items, each attack by the Reaper marks target for 10 seconds. Marked enemies take 5% damage. Still a limit of 5. For the duration of the battle, the damage dealt to the Reaper is reduced by 10% for each living enemy chemist on the battlefield. That's a pretty good survival mechanic. Often you're going to be facing teams in a 6-man squad. You're likely to have at least 3 chems. In a 8-man squad, you could have, you know, as many as 7 chems I've seen out there, but certainly 5 or 6. If there are no living enemy chemists left on the battlefield, the damage dealt to the Reaper is reduced by 30%. When an enemy chemist dies, the Reaper restores 15% of its own max health. So there's nice survivability mechanics there. It's doing damage and it's got ways to stay alive. So for 4 items, that's not bad. I probably wouldn't want that on a chemist hybrid, but maybe on a ranger hybrid, that could be pretty decent, I think. So onto the 6.6 part now. The initial ability now goes up for 10%. But still only 5 marks. Damage reduction is 15% for each chemist. If there's no chemist, it's 40%. So if you've got 1 or 2 chemists, you're going to be on less. And to be honest, if all the chemists are dead, then you've probably won the battle anyway, right? When an enemy chemist dies, the Reaper restores 20% of its own max health. For me, this part is really important. I think this is possibly the best part of the set, if I'm totally honest. Once in a while, the Reaper sentences all enemy chemists to death. I don't like the wording of this, and you'll see why in the testing, but I think it's very, very misleading. It makes the set sound much better than it is, in my opinion. If there are no enemy chemists, the Reaper sentences 3 random enemies instead. The sentence lasts for 10 seconds. Every second for 10 seconds, sentenced units take pure damage equal to 200% of the Reaper's attack. I'll have a look at that in just a moment. This damage ignores shields and damage reducing effects. Also, when taking damage, the targets have a 30% chance to be paralyzed for 1 second. During this time, they can't move and they take 35% more damage. The Reaper restores health equal to 100% of the damage dealt by this ability. I don't know if that's the whole thing or just this little 1 second part. I don't know. If a sentenced unit uses a weapon ability, they take pure damage equal to 300% of Reaper's attack. The damage ignores shields and damage reducing effects. The Reaper restores health equal to 80% of the damage dealt by this ability. So the fact that they've added that line there assumes it only applies to the most immediate effect. All of this sounds quite good, but in practice, I don't know how good it actually is. With regards to the attack damage in the set ability, when you look at your fighter, you'll see the damage per second. Now, it's going to work out in this situation because the set ability is going to be doing 200% pure damage based on the attack. Normally, damage per second, you'd have to half that for knives because knives have a fast attack speed, which is 2 attacks per second. The damage per second is increased here significantly because it's doing 2 attacks, but because of the 200% in the set ability, that number is going to be about right. Now, obviously, the test unit I've got here hasn't got any chips on or anything like that, so this damage per second is very low. I just looked at a couple of guys on the leaderboard with the most power, and they're getting about 180,000 damage. So you can potentially do quite a lot of damage with that ability, but you're going to have to invest in it and put all the chips on it and everything like that. On to the testing side of things, and I didn't really know how to best test this set, if I'm honest. And I had a few comments on previous videos that people were a bit bored of the spreadsheets, so I've decided I'm going to do a series of arenas and record the stats from the arenas that way and just see how the general performance of the unit is in real battles. This is also partly due to the fact that my squad has significantly increased its strength and power. I have renovations on most of my units now, so when comparing to a naked set without any chips, without any prototypes, without any renovations, the differences in damage production and how much damage it can take and things like that are going to be significantly lower. So I wanted to see if there was any significant drop off or improvement in my squad with real battles against real teams in the arena. The first set of battles were done with my general squad, and for the second set that starts now, I have removed Grim Undertaker and put the Reaper unit in. Only 700,000 damage on that battle by the Reaper unit. Zero damage there. And another 0. So the first 3 battles have been fought against pretty weak opponents. I'm at the top of the arena now, so I have to fight down. Pretty low again, 700,000. Now the 2 opponents above me are very strong and they've already beaten me in the arena, so it doesn't make sense to fight them for no reason. I have to fight down again, and it's another 0 for Reaper. Third round of arenas now, and I've brought Grim back in and swapped out Caduceus to see what effect that has. A 0 for Reaper again is quite surprising really how little damage it does. I don't know if it's just getting stunned into oblivion at the start of each battle. Another 0 for Reaper. This time 265,000. Don't worry, I've got all these stats recorded, so we will look back at them properly after the battles are done. Only 440 for Reaper that time. And another 0. Just before we jump into the spreadsheets, I'll give you those details for the giveaways. The first one is a usual one. Just leave your ID in the comments below, please. Also leave any other comments you will actually have. The second one will be held on my Discord channel. The link for that will be in the description below. Jump in there. It's just going to be click a button and wait a few days and see if you've won or not. Okay, so let's look back at the arenas we had. So the first ones up here were my normal squad just battling, just to give a rough idea. It's not very important what's going on here. Some various amounts of power. My squad's about 37 million power now, so it's pretty strong. I'm beating most players, generally speaking. For example, Dag, 47 million. I was able to beat him quite comfortably. I've beaten a few 50 million power players as well. There are the real upper tiers that I struggle with, but generally speaking, my squad is actually really good at the moment. So the first set of arenas with Reaper in, and as we saw, and I was really surprised by this, but there's 3 battles where it doesn't do any damage, and for a DPS unit, for me, that's a huge red flag. Here, I also noted some of the stronger players in the arena that attacked me. I viewed those battles off camera and recorded the attributes, and it did much better there. One thing I will say, and I highlighted it in the set abilities, the damage reduction, so the tankiness of the unit is actually pretty good. It will take a lot of damage here, 28% and 45% of the total damage done. Salt and Syndicate are really strong players. So yeah, and there we can see that the unit has done 8 million, so 13% of the total damage in the battle, and 5 million, 12%. So that first one, that was without Grim and with Reaper. This final one here is without Caduceus and with Reaper. And again, 3 battles with 0 damage and 1 battle with 440. I mean, I don't even know how you do that low damage unless the unit has just got lots of defense. Again, I mean, there was a 40 million power and a 44 million power squad in there. On defense against Buroy, 47 million and did 174 damage. Lost to them. Syndicate did 4.5 million, only 7% though of the total damage for the battle. Lost to him. Salt attacked me again, and I actually beat Salt this time, but only 1.5 million, 4%. And K Ramo, another 47 million player, did 1.2 million damage, but again only 4% of the total damage in the battle. That is what I find the hardest thing to note about this unit, and that is just how low the damage is. And if we look at it by percentage, so we can see what all the other units are doing, 4% and 11% is really low. Just for perspective on this, if I just go to my Pharaoh test, ignore all this. So with the Pharaoh test, when I did Pharaoh, and that again was without any chips or any prototypes or anything like that, Pharaoh did nearly 5 million, 29% over 7 battles. Here, 5.7 million, 20% over 7 battles. 5.2 million, 26% over 7 battles. And let's round up, 4 million, 24% of the damage over 7 battles. So for me, this unit is a huge red flag, and it's probably not something I'm going to be moving forward with. Maybe there's a bug or an error or something, because it's really hard to see 0 damage that many times. That doesn't seem right to me, but that's perhaps what it is. That's going to wrap it up for this video. I have been very lazy with videos recently. I apologize for that. I've been grinding the game and events and whatnot, and life and work and things. But anyway, hopefully I'll make another video soon. Please check out the links in the description for my social channels. The giveaways will be in there. Leave any comments and questions you have. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.